There it is. I found it. Hey, good evening. Welcome to Main Event Monday. My name is Jim Tanner. I'm going to be your host. It is Monday, June 16th, 2025. We're halfway through the month of June already, so I'm excited about where we are and where we've been so far. We got a great training lined up for you. I'm going to be bringing you some other voices from the team as well. And no, I've always got a tremendous amount to say. I don't know if everybody always wants to hear it, but I always have a lot of content for you. And I think that probably what we have for content tonight will take us about to the 45, 55 minute mark. So hopefully you can stay with us for the bulk of the hour. And we're recording this. We'll get it out to everybody that can't join us live. But we talked about a couple of weeks ago. I know some of you are brand new and just getting started in the business. We talked about recently putting a more of an emphasis here on Monday on looking at the numbers. And so we're going to continue. I don't want to overwhelm anybody on day one with that. So I just kind of touched on it last week. Let me share my screen. I'm just going to talk about it a little bit this week. I want you to just start getting used to me talking about numbers and maybe equally as important, considering that behind this business is a series of metrics or numbers or key performance indicators that make the business predictable. When I got started in the business, it was chaos. It was a storm. It was, there's no order to any of it, and I was able to find order. Sometimes I do a training on that. You've heard me say, you start out thinking you're never going to find anybody to talk to, then you figure that out, and you get so good at finding people to talk to that the chaos of trying to keep up with all of that data overwhelms you, and then you get into a rhythm and you manage that. Well, early on in my business, it was just total chaos, and I didn't know which activities at which point in time were the right activities at the right time, especially when it came to building a team. So over the years, we've developed a recruiting funnel, and you hear us talk about that all the time. But the recruiting funnel has numbers behind it, numbers that work. So, for example, we talk about the Mark Rich's video and that business overview that Mark Rich has recorded, which I could do a whole training on that. I could spend 20 minutes telling you why that's powerful, specifically because it's not the first time we ever recorded the video. That is got to be 24 iterations in. We tried the video with other people, myself, Scott Brooks, Chris Evans, off the top of my head, and it didn't have anywhere near the same effect. We had different content in the video. So we learned that Mark Riches is the best person to be in the video. But then also, we've evolved and iterated over time because what we've done is we've continued to put in the video, in the scripting of that video, the most common questions that the prospect asks, which means that Mark Riches is answering the questions that are the most common questions asked instead of not addressing them, which means that after the person watched the video, they had to come back to you to get those questions answered. So we evaluated over time. We would have meetings and say, we'd take sheets of paper and we would write up quietly, what are the 10 most common things someone asks you after they watch the video? And then we would compare where was the similarities, and then we would pour those inputs into the next video. My point is that that's not just a video. We didn't just throw it up one day and say, hope this works. That video works because it's been through so many different versions, and we'll continue to improve it as we go forward because the world changes, right? The culture changes. So that's the video. And as you know, hopefully, and you have this video, it's your business overview website. And when somebody is on your business overview website, watches that business overview, they also have the option of clicking a purple button and it says get more information. Well, when they click that button and fill out the form, that data is captured and dropped into your TMS, your team management system, and it is recorded as a new guest for you. So now we take that person, which was flagged as a lead or a prospect, and now it's a guest because we have their information and we start tracking their behavior. Like how often and when do they log into the system? Are they watching the company orientation video and did they complete it? Or if they didn't complete it, what percentage of it did they watch before they stopped? So as you see on the screen, I just want to take you through some of these numbers. I need to look down here at another screen that's going to be better for me. So far, month to date, these are as of yesterday's numbers, we've had 210 new guest accounts. So that activity I described where you sent somebody to your website, they click the purple button, they fill out the form. That has happened 210 times so far here in the month of June. Now, our goal, and we're going to take the time to build to this, but our goal is to get that to 1,000 guest accounts a month. So we're on our way, but we're not there yet, right? But now let's look at the next drop down, which is the percentage or the whole number of people that have completed. The whole number is 66. Well, the percentage or the conversion rate is 31.4. That's about that's like good. Like if we were grading this, that would be like a B plus. And A plus would be 50% conversion. We know that we're going to lose about half of the people that create a guest account. They're just never going to come back to the platform for a variety of reasons. And it really doesn't matter, frankly. We know that this is a filtering, sorting system. So if we're a little bit soft on that 50% number, it affects the other numbers. But I know that we'll pull that up because what happens is it's early in June. Some of those 210 that haven't finished the company orientation yet, you're going to call them back and you're going to follow up with them with a smiling voice on the phone, and that's going to encourage them to go and complete it. So that number's going to go up. And then as you can see, if we did have 1,000 at our current conversion rate, we'd have 314 completed the training instead of 66. So you can see how these numbers affect each other. And then the ultimate number is people joining your team. That's the whole point of this. Now we're going to look at the numbers for my entire organization, and we're going to see similarities. We're going to see where are you on track and off track from the averages. That's what I do. I take my numbers and I sit them inside of Mark Rich's entire success team organization numbers, and I say where are we on and off track? Where are our percentages too low, too high compared to the averages? Because the bigger numbers give you the more predictable statistics. So we know that we want to be at 50%. We're working on that of people that complete the company orientation. And then the goal is to get to 50% of those folks that finish, that have completed the company orientation to say, yes, I want to become an associate. And you'll see we're at 20 almost 26% right now. Again, the reason it's a soft number, I believe, in the beginning of the month is because the folks from the top number, the guest accounts, are still trickling in, finishing the orientation, and then choosing to get started. So, I mean, we have people that have joined the company today from that series of guest accounts. So we know that's going to be the case. So I hope that's interesting to you. And I've asked John Fehrenbach to just be ready to talk at a moment's notice tonight. So John, I can leave the numbers up or take them down, but we'd love your thoughts on this specifically because I know you track all of your numbers and you have as you built this monster business over the last several years. But also, if you could address this other thing we always talk about, which is not on the slide, which is to build and continue to grow a healthy executive director business to target 25 recruits in your team every month and then use these metrics to kind of see where you're at. Could you cover some of that for the team tonight?
Sure. I'll give it my best. Yeah, I mean these numbers when you're trying to pay attention to what your team's doing, it gives you an idea if what's going on is what you think is going on. And of course, new associates is the big number at the end of the day, although it's the smallest because it's at the end of the funnel. But that's what you're kind of paying attention to. And then I look at things like, completed the orientation is what I look at next compared to how many people we recruit. And as a team, my team, this section of Jim's team, my team, is under what the rest of the team is doing. Our percentage is lower. So it's like, okay, what are we doing? What are we doing wrong? Obviously, we're getting people to complete the orientation because that number is a good number, but the overall percentage of recruits is down. So, are we not using three-way calls enough? Are we, talking too much when we're talking to candidates? These are all questions that you start to ask yourself. And as you're talking to as I'm talking to my associates on the phone, I try and glean that information and try and get them back on the system, right? If our numbers aren't following to what the rest of Jim's team is doing, and obviously my numbers are in there, so they're dragging those numbers down. But I want it gives me we must be strained from the system a little bit. So I got to get the whole team back on the system. And that might be including myself. It's always introspective as well as looking out at the rest of the team to see what everybody's doing. As far as building the organization, by the 15th of the month, I have certain expectations of where guest accounts need to be and finished guest accounts and where recruits need to be. And that way I know, we are on track to finish at the end of the month at a certain place. Or we're falling behind. And if we're falling behind, what do we need to do to get, to get that to a point where it needs to be? The other thing I track, Jim, and is Performance Club. Not only my own Performance Club points, but the rest of the team's Performance Club. Who's in Performance Club? And I know it takes at least 7 to 10 of us, in Performance Club, because now I know they're working the business and they're talking to their associates, and that's what brings all those numbers up. Honestly, it's kind of weird. If you can get and 7 to 10 doesn't sound like a lot, but sometimes it's a big stretch to get 7 to 10 people in Performance Club. But I know that that helps my team a lot if because they're talking about it. They're talking about being in a performance club, getting to the 300 club, and bringing associates in. I recruited a guy today, and I was able to tell him about Punta Cana because he's in the qualifying month and he has half the month to do it. So, and all he has to do is qualify for performance club this month. That's all he has to pay attention to. So it's kind of it's I don't know. It's kind of neat and sometimes sitting this down to just numbers is, a lot of people, it's not their cup of tea, but it's really the only way to manage this. Do I want my business to help people? Do I have all the emotions that go along with this business? Absolutely. But at some point, you have to say, where exactly does the business stand so where to go forward or how to go forward or what is forward. So I hope that's helpful, Jim.
It is, and it's such a great point. It's a numbers business, but it's also a people business. So sometimes we feel a little weird about that conversation. But remember, our primary goal is keep you in business and growing your business so you can affect more people more often. And and if you get frustrated and burned out because you don't know what the numbers are, and so you don't know how close you really are to success. I mean, I talk to so many people all the time, John, I'll bet you do too, where they're frustrated about where they are, and we pull up their TMS, we look at the actual activity, and they are right there where everybody else that's winning is. They're just getting started, so that they're still ramping up, and the result hasn't revealed itself, but the activity matches the activity of everybody else that's getting a result. So the result's just going to come, in the days and weeks ahead.
Absolutely.
But if people don't know, like if I don't know, if the leaders don't know, if John doesn't know what the numbers are, so I like to show you the numbers just so you can always have some experience around the number side of the business. It's the other side. There's high tech and there's high touch, and this is the tech. And the touch is who are the people. Then you move the number away and say who's the person I'm helping and what motivates them. And so that's why this is neither science nor art. It's kind of a little bit of both. Maybe it's a lot of both. But so another topic I wanted to talk about, and you saw in my email, I said I want to talk about resiliency tonight. Honestly, I feel like this is a topic that keeps coming up when we're all talking one on one. So it's going to keep in different ways. I'm going to continue to like I had a 3.5 hour drive today. When I wasn't on the phone, I spent the bulk of that trying to figure out in my head how can I say these things different, not because you need different information. You need the same information, but if it didn't hit you the last time I said it, like how can I twist things around so maybe you can receive it better? But ultimately, we're going to talk about resilience tonight. Before that, though, I want to talk about this Cookville event that's coming up in August. Um, it is my goal personally to have half of the room represented by this organization, this team that we are. Okay, so are we all success team? Yes. And there's maybe if you're new, you're like, listen, I'm just trying to make money. I can't figure out the affiliations. It's okay. I'll worry about that for you. But it is important to me that the people that I talk to on a daily basis, that I pour into all the time, and that I'm working with as business partners, are on this journey with me to the best of their ability. I know not every one of you can come. Frankly, we couldn't hold it in that building if every one of you could come. But what I am trying to do is encourage the majority of you that can come to not only commit to be there, but actually when I turn around on Friday morning and we're checking people in, that you're standing right there. And that's what's really going to help me, build out of the Cookville event with you into the rest of the year. So I've asked some folks to share their thoughts. Of course, I've been going to these events for 20 years in Cookville, Tennessee, a place I'd never heard of and had no idea where it was until I accepted my first invitation to a Cookville boot camp and went. So I've asked a few other folks to share their experiences going as well. We're going to start with Karen Ward. Karen's on the road, so she doesn't have her camera on. Hopefully, she's somewhere where she can unmute. If so, she's going to share her thoughts. Karen, can you hear us okay?
Yes, I can. Can you hear me okay?
You sound great. Now, Karen's a great example because she's flown, she's driven. I think you've hitchhiked or rode a bike a few times to get there from New Mexico, but you're always there. So just share with the group why it's so important.
Well, first of all, good evening, everyone. Yes, it is important to go because, first of all, it's like a family reunion. And I have been going for a few years. And when I first started going, I decided that you guys are my family. And when I get to Cookville, Mark and Jennifer are like mom and pop when I'm there. And I literally take over their house come Saturday. So he invites us in, for a cookout Friday night after the training on Friday. And then we have another training, which is a half a day on Saturday. And then usually after that, Mark allows us to go back to his house and we get that one-on-one time with Mark. So now you get to ask questions that you couldn't ask before. And so Mark kind of gives you different insight, and it's totally different because you're in a relaxed atmosphere and you just get to get certain questions answered that you couldn't get answered before. And then again, it's the association. So you get to see the people that you see on Zoom in person. And I'm telling you, it's like a big family reunion. And, like, I can't tell you how much you need to be there. So Sonora has coined a phrase, be in the room. Yes, you need to be in the room because you will get training that you can't get over Zoom because it'll be in person and you'll get different point of views. But not only that, when you're in the room in a training and they're training, if there's questions that you need answered, you can get them answered right then and there. So that's the advantage of being at a live event, so I don't know what else to tell you guys to get there, but you should get there. And it's wonderful to be there, to hug each other's necks and, to get closer to the team because we are a family. When you're born into a family, you can't choose your mom and dad and your brothers and sisters. But in an organization like this, it's a totally different thing because you have everybody that has the same mindset and we're all trying to get to the same destination. It's just we're all on a different journey to get there. And when you're around people who are trying to get to the same destination you are, they can help you along your journey. And Jim, after that, I will turn it all back to you.
Thank you very much. Also, we could just say you don't want Karen to call you and you have to explain to her why you weren't there because she can be scary too. She sounds nice right now, but don't mess with her. Thank you, Karen. I appreciate
Well,
that.
listen, okay, I haven't hitchhiked yet, but I have driven many a times and I've flown. But yes, I do try everything to do to be at events, not just Cookville, but even for the international convention. So I urge you guys to be there if you can.
Thank you very much. I've asked Lenore Orlicky also to weigh in. Now, Lenore, what I love about your story, I think you're somewhere where you can unmute, is that again, that kind of a recurring theme of family. But I know that the new people and the newer people tonight have heard groups of people throw around that word before. But why don't you talk about a little bit about your story of how you all found each other and how you continue on to today?
I know some of you may have, thank you for asking me to talk about this. I know some of you have maybe heard this story before, but I started in October of 2017 and I live in Michigan. Jim's in Massachusetts. This meeting was in Tennessee and I knew nobody. I just knew kind of some of the people here in Michigan, but barely. But I was like, if I'm going to work for this company, I want to kind of get to know some of the people I talked to on the telephone. So I asked Jim, I said, because of course, with finances, that sometimes is a hindrance for some people. So I'm like, I don't want to rent a room by myself. Is there somebody do you know that I can, share a hotel room with? And he told me about Karen. So that's how Karen Ward and I connected. And that was the first person I really got to know on a real personal level at the Cookeville meeting. And from there, we decided, okay, we're going to convention next year, and it was in Oklahoma. Let's do it. Let's do an Airbnb. I had never done Airbnb before, but we decided to do that, and that's where I met Lisa. I met gosh, now I can't remember if Luz was on that one. She might have been in Dallas, but there's a bunch of us: Luz, Michelle, Lisa, Laura, Venus. But usually Venus is on her own, but she's still part of our little team, because we picked her up in Dallas. But just along the way, we kept picking up these people, and it's our core people that, just going there is kind of like a reunion and getting to see them again and just catch up and share, what's been going on and share ideas. What are you doing? And be in the Airbnb we share, and it's the third year in a row for this particular Airbnb, and it's only like a mile and a half away from the hotel. So if finances are an issue, there's other Airbnbs in the area that you could run, get a bunch of people and do the same thing. But we plan on meeting at the next one and sticking together and just supporting each other. And from there we started what's a Facebook chat. So we check on each other every day. We encourage each other every day, so like today I needed to do a 3-way call and you weren't available. I reached out to Karen and I reached out to Venus. And so these are people that you can count on, so you don't feel like you're alone. And because this business can be lonely if you let it be, but you don't have to be. And that's the whole point of going to events like Cookeville, because it's like Karen said, a class reunion, getting to see the people that you only see on Zoom and spending that quality time with people in a fun way, but also learning. And you get motivated. So when you come back, now you're kind of a little bit more fired up to get going, because you now start comparing yourself. Well, gosh, they're doing it, I can do it, and you can see how that can motivate you. And so I definitely encourage everybody to go. It's so affordable, and you can make it more affordable, doing what we do with the Airbnbs.
Love it. Thank you, Lenore. And we'll see you there. And
That's right.
So to wrap it up, I've asked Sonora Danzler to share her story too, but also make sure that everybody knows exactly what the action steps are to secure your seat for the event. Sonora Danzler, over to you, please.
Hey, everybody. Great evening to you. You absolutely got to be in that room, guys. It's so important. I mean, it's only what, 3 days, maybe 4 if you're going to go a little bit earlier, but August the 8th and 9th, if you haven't already, put it on your calendar. Commit to be there, to go. How do you get tickets? You go in the back office and you click on the shopping cart. No, yeah. Click on the shopping cart with the new part of our system or whatever. I get a little confused. You click on the shopping cart and you buy your tickets to Cookeville. They are only $39, guys, and way worth it. You're going to have 2 days of full training, and it's not just any old kind of training, guys. It's the kind of training that is going to help you to explode your business more and bigger than what you're doing now. I promise you that. I can actually attest to when I was in Cookeville last year to this year, because I was thinking about it and I was like, nah, I might not go. And, all the stuff that the devil was telling me, which was a lie. But I made it there. I made it there, as Jim said, the Karen does, by train or plane or bus or hitchhike or bike. But I made it there, and it changed my life. It had me doing some new things. It helped me to have more growth. I was able to have that enormous momentum, because you cannot not leave that place without getting the momentum from all the other leaders that are there, from talking and having those one-on-ones. not only with Jim Tanner, with Mike Riches, with Mark Riches, with other leaders, and on and on and on. And I'm not even going to start naming names either, but you get to have those one-on-one conversations. You get to pick their brains, ask them what it is that they're doing, how it is that they're doing it. Also, believe it or not, they'll even share with you some things that they recommend that you not do so that you don't fall into the same pitfalls that they did when they first started their business. And how amazing is that? To get the how to's, the what ifs, the maybe because, the all of the above, guys, that you can have in a more relaxed setting, as you just heard Karen say. And not to mention, Mrs. Riches makes an amazing banana pudding, y'all. I'm just telling you that. It is just amazing. You will always hear me talk about this banana pudding because she does an amazing job with it. And Mark Riches does some really yummy strawberry virgin daiquiris that you do not want to miss those as well too. There's also magic trick, guys. So as you can see, there's also fun stuff. There's a pool party. If you don't want to swim and get in the pool, that's fine. You could just put your feet in the pool. There's also a hot tub. So as you can see, not only do we take care of the business and get to work and all of that as well too, we also love having fun. As you heard everyone just tell you, it's like a family reunion. It's a cookout. It's a Mardi Gras. It's everything that you could think of. There's so much fun, so much education, so many fabulous nuggets. And I have to stress on that. The 2 days of training, you are going to come out of there with so many notes and even a 1, 2, 3 of what you can do directly in your business to help you to expand before the end of the year. You don't even have to wait till next year. You're going to be booming out. And I highly also recommend that you go on a 90-day run. If you don't know what that is yet, get back with your sponsor, your upline, whoever that is, put it together. So I'm actually getting you ready to get ready so that you can put that plan in place and you can finish 2025 out where it is that you want to be. Back to you, Mr. Tanner.
Well, job, Sonora. Thank you so much. Thanks. And also Lenore and Karen and John. I mean, and I hope you all in the chat are showing your appreciation. What a group we have here, right? Sharing together, taking time away from their own families and their own businesses to converge together. And these are the folks, so that you just heard from tonight: Sonora Danzler, John Fehrenbach, Karen Ward, and Lenore Orlicki. You know, years we've been working together, years and years in some cases that we've been working together. And I know I'm still here today because I showed up in that room when I was invited. I believe, and I mean, you just heard their own testimonials. I believe they're all here working with me today because they showed up in those rooms when they were invited. I'm inviting you. I'm asking you. I'm really encouraging you. I'm asking you to consider being with us, even if you've already considered not, because it is worth it. And it is, wherever you live, it is worth the effort to be there because it changes who you are. Now, we've got plenty of time to finance this trip because some of you are doing what I did when I first heard about it. I shut it down immediately. That first one 21 years ago, I was like, no, I'd never been on a plane before. So I wasn't going to do that because in my mind, I didn't even know the first thing about that. I just knew it was expensive. And so I knew I could drive to it because I had driven long distances before, but I knew that would be expensive. And I didn't really appreciate or understand what the difference would be, right? I mean, I have all these training videos, I have all this stuff, so I didn't understand the difference between an immersive experience like that with our own team. But I promise you, I'm here today because I changed my mind about that. And there's enough time right now to fully finance. If the finance is the issue, we can fully finance your trip because there's time. It's not tomorrow. So, in the time we've got left tonight, let's talk about this thing that I've been racking my brain about. which is resilience, right? Grittiness, toughness, and maybe a little bit of allowing people to talk about you in a positive way, allowing people to share out loud how they see you without you challenging that, right? Because here's the situation. There's some of you that just in the last few days, someone like myself, a millionaire club member, has told you how good you're doing, and you've softened it. You've shut it down. You're like, well, I could be doing better. Not allowing us to breathe into your reality, the very future that you're also claim that you're praying for, seeking, journaling, vision boarding. And I know that sometimes I say things that are uncomfortable, or that I say things that are uncomfortable because you think I'm talking about you individually, which I am, but also everybody in my meetings thinks that because I have lived it. I don't know anybody who's been here long term that hasn't been in situations that they had to overcome. We forget, especially we get really blind in these situations, that everybody who's had success has gone through adversity. Like there is no here's the great thing about here's one of the great positives of when I got started in this business. You couldn't complain about your business. You couldn't complain about your challenges. None of us could. You know why? I mean, you could, but you would sound ridiculous. You want to know why? Because we worked with the founder. We worked with Harlan Stonecipher. Harlan Stonecipher was the guy in the car accident that almost got killed. That had to fight the frivolous lawsuit. That had his financial, his little financial, his bank account, his savings account for his family drained defending that frivolous lawsuit, so he didn't get buried in fines and all those expenses. He had the most impossible situation. Then he started the company, and then he started the company because he believed that what had happened to him was unfair, and it shouldn't happen to him again, and it shouldn't happen to anybody else. He didn't just go try to figure out how to fix it for him. He decided to try to fix it for all of us. So you know what happened when he started to assemble this first Sportsman's Motor Group, which would one day be Legal Shield? He was sued by the Oklahoma Bar Association, the state's attorneys general. They said that you can't change the way law is practiced. Who are you? What are you doing? They tried to shut him down. Today, the attorney general will be at our convention telling us what? Keep going. We're bringing the average citizen closer to equal access to justice than they've ever been. Don't stop now. The future is only the future if you do what you do. Think of how far we've come. So we couldn't complain when Harlan Stonecipher had to borrow money against his furniture to make payroll to get this company off the ground. We had nothing to complain about because we knew what it took to get this company to the point it was at whenever we joined. When I joined, it was 1 million customers. It was 32 years in business. And the stories about what it took for Harlan Stonecipher, the son of sharecropper parents, to take this company from his kitchen table to the American Stock Exchange, the NASDAQ, and then finally, at that time, the New York Stock Exchange. We couldn't complain. So we didn't complain. But what we did was we thought little of ourselves, and we did it quietly. And there would be people that wanted to breathe into us a completely radically different tomorrow, and we would resist it. And that piece still exists today. So I'll tell you what I often see. I see massive potential. When I talk, I mean, some of you I've personally sponsored. Some of you have personally sponsored recently. I talked to you on the phone. I saw massive potential. I said, if this gal does the things I'm suggesting, we're going to be fine. We're going to go to the moon together. Their life's going to change the way they just said they wanted to. I'm going to have a bigger, stronger business. I'm going to have even more success stories in my team, more ring earners, more millionaire club members. I see the potential. I see the ambition. I hear it in every call. I see the good intentions often overflowing. But then beneath all of that, I listen, and I know that even in those early calls, I can hear it. It's a flicker. It's a shadow. It's a quiet question in their souls. It's a question that whispers, am I really good enough? Can I truly do this? What if I fail again? It's so interesting to watch people go through this. As we talked about our recruiting funnel tonight, they see the Mark Rich's video, they create a guest account, they watch the company orientation, they talk to us on the phone, they go to the meet and greet. They go from, I wonder if this is real, to, wow, this is real. They go from, I hope this is the thing I was praying for, to, oh my God, this is exactly what I was praying for. And then once they get here, it is real. It is what I was searching for. Then it goes to, can I do it? And all of that doubt, all of that lifetime of programming. I mean, let me go to the chat. Am I way off base? Is this like, are you guys like, no, not me? Like, I'm strong as a rock. I'm resilient forever. I never doubt myself. I never doubt I can do this. Or like, am I by myself on this island? Because I hear it out there. People saying, am I really good enough? Saying it to yourself, but I can hear it. Can I do this? What if I fail? Or for some of you who've tried things in the past, I'm hearing it. What if I fail again? That was me. See, I didn't want to think, I didn't want to get too excited about this because I realized the more excited I got, the further the fall would be if it wasn't real or if I couldn't do it or if it didn't work. So I tempered my enthusiasm. The problem with that is my enthusiasm is what has built my business. Like you see me today, do you think for a second people doubt my enthusiasm about our services, about what we do for communities, about how we impact individuals and business owners and their employees, and how our opportunity changes people's lives, giving them an opportunity to bring income into their home without them having to leave their home, without having to solve for childcare, without having to figure out transportation. But all of a sudden, because somebody in this team showed up in their life, now they have a way to bring money into their household without trying to figure out all the other complicated steps. I mean, I am all in on it. And I tempered that in the beginning because I wanted to protect myself from disappointment. And in doing that, I was protecting myself from success. So I'm telling you what I see: potential, ambition, good intentions. But I also see that reluctance, that knot in your stomach, and that tremor in your hand when you're about to approach someone. It's the insidious doubt that creeps into all of us. It's that 3 o'clock a.m. whispering that maybe, just maybe, this isn't for you, that you're not built for this kind of success. That, hey, listen, you know what? Some people just have it. And you, whoever it was in your life, your teacher, your coach in sports, a parent, they were right. Some people have it and I don't. Have you ever felt that? It's like an invisible wall. I talked about this to the Connecticut crew on Tuesday night. This invisible wall. It's not made of brick or stone. It's made of hesitation, of old stories, of past rejections. And the problem is that those echo louder than new possibilities. A wall built by the quiet lies that you sometimes tell yourself about who you are and what you're capable of. Let that sink in, please. Because I'm here to tell you tonight with every fiber of my being that those feelings, those whispers, those doubts are not the truth. They're not the truth. I mean, if I had a time machine, the first thing I would do is go back to the Jim Tanner that signed his associate agreement and tell him that all this stuff was coming. It's going to be okay, man. Everything you thought about who you were, everything everybody else told you that you believed, it was just somebody else's opinion. It didn't have to be reality. This is all merely the residue of old programming, the echoes of a world that tried to shrink you. The world wants us in a box. It wants to tell you and I our limitations, define our boundaries, and dictate our potential. But you were not put on this earth to fit in that box. Not if you joined us here, not if what we see, the things we communicate, we talk about it all the time. It's a filter. We filtered out everybody else. We filtered in you. Our filter works. You were born to build an empire. And that empire begins not out there somewhere. You don't have to search. You did it. It's right here. It begins with the unseen architect within you, the one who designs your destiny. And the tools for that are simpler and yet more powerful than you can ever imagine. It's about resilience, self-belief, determination, and an unyielding, unbreakable grit. Now, I talked to my wife about some of what we're going to talk about before we wrap up. And as some of you know, she's a professor at Boston University, but she is also a certified mental health counselor. This is her wheelhouse. She's written books about this. She travels the country talking about this stuff. You're getting this from a layman tonight. But I'm setting you up because I'm going to bring her in a couple weeks, and she's going to talk to you on the science side of all this too. But tonight, we're going to, with Jim Tanner's help, not with Dr. Russo's, we'll bring her on in a few weeks. We're going to tear down these invisible walls quickly, brick by brick. We're going to lay a new foundation. We're going to understand that success in Legal Shield and in life isn't about who you are right now, but it's about who you're becoming. And it's not just what you do, but who you are when you do it. And we're going to keep this recording. And I'm going to tell you that you're not always going to be able to get the best, most excited, most energetic, most high frequency version of Jim Tanner to say this to you, but you can always play this video. Because right now I am over the moon. I've been preparing for this. I am so ready for what we're doing. I couldn't wait for 9 o'clock tonight. Life, my friends, has a funny way of testing us. It throws us curveballs, it presents detours, and sometimes it just outright shoves us down. Think about it. When you started this journey with Legal Shield, whether it was a decade ago or yesterday, did you expect every single person to immediately say, yes, where do I sign? Some of you maybe, but of course not, right? I mean, you anticipated challenges, but the feeling of those challenges, the sting of somebody saying, no, I don't need that, I wouldn't use that, the frustration of somebody ghosting you from an appointment, that's where the true test lies in our business. That's the difference. I wrote a whole book about who becomes a millionaire in this business and who doesn't. Same comp plan, same product, same opportunity, same marketplace, same customer base. And some people make millions of dollars and some people are here for 5 minutes. What's the difference? Because some people shrink from the test. They hear no and they interpret that as you're not good enough. They face a setback and internalize it as I can't do this. But that is where the path diverges, right there. The successful among us understand a profound truth. Adversity is not a roadblock. It's the raw material. Think about it like a blacksmith working in his forge. He doesn't take a perfectly shaped piece of metal and admire it. He takes a rough lump of steel. And what does he do with it? He heats it in a big fire. He pounds it with a heavy hammer. He plunges it into cold water and then he repeats the process. Heat, pound, quench, over and over. Does the metal complain? Does it say, ow, that hurts? I don't want to be hammered? No. It transforms. It becomes stronger, more pliable, sharper, more useful. It becomes a sword, a tool, something magnificent. That's what we are. We're that raw steel. The rejections, the setbacks, the doubts, these are the fires and the hammers. And your resilience, that's the process of enduring the heat, absorbing the blows, and emerging stronger, sharper, more capable. Jim Rohn, who's the master of personal development, taught us about the seasons of life. He said, don't wish it was easier. Wish you were better. He reminds us, don't wish for fewer problems. Wish for more skills. Don't wish for less challenge. Wish for more wisdom. Resilience isn't about avoiding the winter. It's about learning to build a stronger shelter, to gather more provisions, to emerge from the cold stronger and wiser. Every no you hear, every door that closes, every challenge you face, no matter what that voice is trying to tell you, that is not a sign to quit. It's a sign to adapt, to learn, to refine, to strengthen your resolve. It's a blacksmith's hammer strike, shaping you into the champion you're meant to be. Embrace the forge. Embrace the fire, because on the other side of that heat is the unbreakable you. Now, resilience is about bouncing back. But what makes you want to bounce back? What fuels that fire after you've been knocked down? It's your self-belief. And this is where things get profound, because self-belief isn't just about feeling good. It's about knowing you are capable, even when the evidence to the contrary might seem overwhelming. Think about it. Have you ever seen someone with a massive talent, incredible resources, but absolutely no belief in themselves? They might start strong, but at the first sign of trouble, they crumble. Why? Because their foundation was built on sand. True self-belief isn't arrogance. It's an inner knowing. It's a quiet confidence that whispers, I can learn this. I can figure this out. I am worthy of success. It's your personal GPS, right? It's like driving to a new unfamiliar destination. You've never been there before. Along the way, you hit a traffic jam, a road closure, whatever. You take a wrong turn. And then the GPS is like there for you. It doesn't say, forget it, go home. You're never going to get there, just give up. No, it recalibrates, it reroutes. It calmly says, recalculating, new route found. It doesn't doubt your ability to reach the destination. It simply helps you adjust the course. That's your self-belief. It's your internal GPS. When you hit the no, when you face a setback, when self-belief doesn't scream, you're lost, it quietly recalibrates. It reminds you of your destination. It helps you find a new path. But remember that recently, several last things I've been talking about, we talk about atomic habits. James Clear says, you don't find self-belief, you build it. You build it not just by saying affirmations, by acting as if you're the person who already possesses that belief. He says every action you take is a vote for the type of person you wish to become. So if you want to be resilient, a resilient Legal Shield associate, a successful person here, you don't just wish for it, you act like one. This is critical. If you constantly tell yourself, I'm bad at prospecting, or I can't explain the compensation plan, or I don't know anybody, then every time you avoid prospecting or stumble through the plan or whatever, you're casting a vote for that identity. You're reinforcing the negative belief. I remember being stuck at, I don't know who I'm going to talk to. And I remember Mark Rich saying, you have to change that to, I'm going to figure out who to talk to. That became my mantra. I realized that was my only job as an entrepreneur. I had the baseball diamond, I had exposure, follow-up, three-way calls, all that. All I had to do was find the people to put on my list. That was my only job. That was the only thing I had that wasn't figured out for me by the company. So I made that my new identity, master prospector. Guess what? It changed my entire life. So what if instead you cast a vote for your new identity? What if even with a shaky voice you make that call? What if even you stutter a little, you practice explaining the plan? Every single time you show up, even when you don't feel like it, even when you're scared, you are casting a powerful vote for the person you are becoming. You're voting for the self-confident, self-believing, unstoppable you. So that means that your actions are not just what you do, they're who you are. So start acting as if you already possess that unshakable self-belief and watch it grow from a tiny seed into an undeniable force. So resilience helps you bounce back. Self-belief gives you the internal compass. But what keeps you moving forward day after day, even when the path is obscured and the destination seems distant? That is another thing. It's called determination. It's the unwavering commitment to a course of action, come what may. Determination is often misunderstood. It's not about being stubborn or inflexible. It's about having a clear vision and an unshakable resolve to reach it, even if the methods need to adapt. Think about a salmon swimming upstream. Think of a salmon. It's born in fresh water, travels thousands of miles to the ocean, and then when it's time to reproduce, it fights its way back against the current, leaping waterfalls, navigating rapids, battling predators, all to get back to its birthplace. Does it ever say, this current is too strong? I'm just going to drift back to the ocean? No. Its biological imperative, its determination, is so profound that it will literally exhaust itself to fulfill its mission. Some of you might say, well, that's different. We're humans. We're not going to do that here. I watch Dave Savula. I get emotional when I talk about this, but I don't apologize for it. I watched Dave Savula do this business not until he got wealthy, but until he couldn't get out of the hospital anymore. He never quit. He never retired. He was our number one money earner. He was recruiting nurses and doctors and selling memberships in his hospital that he'd never walk out of. He was exhausted to fulfill the mission. Harlan Stonecipher gave his last his last speeches sitting down because he couldn't stand anymore. He was exhausted fulfilling the mission. Ken Moore, Wilbur Smith, same thing. I just want you to understand that's what Legal Shield does to you. Your mission in Legal Shield, your purpose, your why, that is your unyielding current. It's the force that drives you upstream against the objections, the rejections, the quiet doubts, the sheer effort of consistent activity. But here's the secret to sustainable determination. It's not just about brute force. It's about clarity of purpose. It's about a deep emotional connection to your motivation, your why. Because Jim Rohn said, if your why is big enough, the how takes care of itself. So when your vision for your family's future, your financial freedom, the impact you want to make through Legal Shield is so vivid, so burning, so real in your heart, then the determination to overcome any obstacle becomes automatic. Your determination isn't just about waking up and saying, I'll work hard today. It's about waking up with a fire in your belly and a picture in your mind and a feeling in your soul that says, I must do this. This is non-negotiable. So how do you feed that determination? Through consistent, focused action. Which brings us to a simple yet profound thing that will transform your Legal Shield business and your life. 2 exposures a day. 2 exposures a day. Sounds simple. Sounds too simple. But it's that daily vote. It's the steady rhythmic stroke of the paddle against the current. It's the blacksmith's consistent hammer blow. It's the daily recalibration of your GPS. Every single day, you have the opportunity to cast a vote for your future self. When you make 2 exposures, you're not just performing an activity, you're reaffirming your commitment, strengthening your determination, and casting a powerful vote for the person who achieves their dreams. You're saying, I am determined, I am committed, and I will not be swayed. This business is not about perfection, it's about consistency. You look at every leaderboard, you look at all those names, you look at the impressive numbers next to them, they're not special, they're consistent. They're special because they're consistent, but not for any other reason. It's about showing up even on the days you don't feel like it, especially on the days you don't feel like it. Because those are the votes that count double. They're the moments when your determination is truly forged. All right, let me wrap up because I'm going to run out of time. Resilience, self-belief, determination. But what about the thing that kind of ties it all together? What gives them their unbreakable strength? It's grit. Grit is that relentless, unyielding passion and perseverance toward long-term goals, even in the face of significant obstacles. It's the stubborn refusal to give up, even when every fiber of your being screams for you to surrender. Grit is not a fleeting emotion, it's a character trait. It's a deep-seated commitment to finish what you start, to see things through, to keep pushing, even when success seems a distant mirage. It's kind of like a marathon runner. Imagine a marathon runner in the last few miles of a race. Their lungs are burning, their legs are screaming, every muscle aches, and their mind is begging them to stop. There's no audience cheering them on at that exact moment. It's just them, the pavement, and the pain. What keeps them going? It's not just speed, it's not just talent, it's grit. It's that quiet internal decision to put one foot in front of the other again and again and again until they cross that finish line. Their eyes are fixed on the goal, and their heart is committed to the journey. Legal Shield is like a marathon. It is not a sprint. There will be miles where you feel fantastic, gliding effortlessly. And there will be miles where every step feels like a struggle, where every doubt whispers in your ear, and where the finish line seems impossibly far away. That's when your grit kicks in. Now, there's a book called Grit by Angela Duckworth. And in the book, The Power of Passion and Persuasion is the full title. She defines grit as the tendency to sustain interest in an effort toward very long-term goals. So it's not about naturally gifted. It's about having tenacity, not gifts, to keep going when others would quit. And how do you cultivate this grit, right? It's by consistently choosing courage over comfort, by choosing action over inertia, by choosing to show up even when you're tired, even when you're scared, even when you feel discouraged. Your 2 exposures a day aren't just activities, they're acts of grit. Each exposure is a deliberate choice to push past your comfort zone, to face potential rejection, and to invest in your future. It's a declaration to yourself and to the universe that you're not going to be stopped. You're building muscle, not just in your business, but in your character. This is about developing what I call unshakable inner core. That part of you that knows deep down that you are capable of extraordinary things. It's the part of you that says, I may bend, but I will not break. I may stumble, but I will not fall. I will always, always get back up. This isn't about being perfect. It's about being persistent. It's about developing the habits of showing up, of doing the work, of pushing through. Because the rewards in Legal Shield, the true life-altering rewards, are frankly reserved for those who demonstrate the grit. So we talked about resilience, self-belief, determination, and grit. These aren't just abstract concepts. I call them muscles. They are like muscles. They grow stronger with consistent use. And in Legal Shield, that consistent use often boils down to one simple, powerful act: 2 exposures a day. So when you commit to 2 exposures a day, when you're tired, you're casting a vote for your resilience. You're telling yourself, I can push through discomfort. I can overcome inertia. When you make calls with a knot of fear in your stomach, you're casting a vote for your self-belief. You're telling yourself, I believe in myself enough to try. Even if I stumble, you're affirming, I am the kind of person who takes action. When you follow up, when you persevere through objections, when you stick to your schedule, you're casting a vote for determination. You're telling yourself, I'm committed to my goals and I'll see this through. And when you consistently show up day after day, week after week, even when results are slow to appear, you're casting a vote for your grit. You're telling yourself, I am relentless. I have the passion and perseverance to achieve my long term vision. James Clear reminds us that your habits are how you embody your identity. So if you want to be a top earner in Legal Shield, if you want to be a leader, if you want to be free, then start acting like that person today. Start casting those daily votes. It's kind of like compound interest. Imagine you're putting a small amount of money into an investment every single day. On any given day, the amount seems insignificant. It doesn't look like much, but over weeks, months, years, those small, consistent deposits compound. They grow exponentially. Suddenly, you got a fortune. Same thing with 2 exposures a day. Each one might seem small, insignificant. A single conversation might not yield a sign up, but those consistent efforts, those daily votes for your future self compound over time. They build your skills, they expand your network, they solidify your belief, and ultimately, they create an unstoppable momentum that leads to massive success. So, this isn't just about numbers, because we started with numbers, right? It's about identity. You're not just doing these activities of a successful Legal Shield associate, you're becoming a successful Legal Shield associate. You are literally reshaping your internal narrative, building new neural pathways, and forging a new powerful identity through your consistent daily action. So let me make a decision tonight, you and me together. Let's commit to casting these daily votes. Let's make 2 exposures a day non-negotiable, not because someone told you to, but because you have decided to become the resilient, self-believing, determined, and gritty architect of your own destiny. Because there's a warrior within you. Man, I hope you can hear me. I hope you can look into your own heart right now, as weird as that sounds. But can you feel this flicker of hope, this yearning for something more, this deep desire to succeed, to prove yourself to the world what you are truly capable of? For too long, maybe you've allowed these invisible walls to define you. The walls of past failures, of self-doubt, the wall of external criticism. But I'm here to tell you with absolute conviction, these walls are an illusion. You are not weak. You are a warrior. You are not a victim of circumstance. You are the master of your fate. You are not destined for mediocrity. You are destined for magnificence. You're not just marketing a service. You're bringing people peace of mind, protection, and opportunity. You're not just building a business. You're building a legacy. You're not just an associate. You're a leader, an entrepreneur, a force for good in the world. Don't let anyone, especially not that nagging voice in your own head, tell you different. You might feel fear. Good. Fear is a compass pointing you towards growth. You might face rejection. Excellent. Rejection is a forge hardening your resolve. You might stumble. Great. Stumbling is how you learn to run. This isn't about being perfect. It's about being persistent. It's about being present. It's about being powerful. And if right now your self-belief is still a little shaky, if that grit feels a little thin, if your determination is flickering, that's okay, because you can borrow my belief. Borrow my belief until yours kicks in. I believe in you. I believe in your potential. I've seen people like you come along before and choose to succeed here and choose to follow on what we talked about tonight. And I've also seen people choose not to. So I believe you can do it because I've seen it before. I believe in your capacity to overcome every single obstacle. I believe you have the fire, the heart, and the sheer will to achieve every single dream you hold for yourself and your family. You have everything you need already within you. It's time to unleash it. It's time to step into your power. It's time to become the unseen architect of your own unparalleled success. Go out there. Make your exposures today and every day. Cast your votes. Build your empire. The world is waiting for your unshakable, unstoppable, grittiest version of you. And what you do matters, and it is, in fact, important, noble work. And ladies and gentlemen, I'm incredibly grateful that I get to do it with all of you. Have a great night, everybody. Thank you.